Hello everyone and welcome to my MW3 first impressions video. I've been doing these for the past 4 or 5 years. I think I've done it since MW19 and I think I've done one for every COD from MW19 till now and now with the new game. I think so, I'd have to double check that, but I've done it pretty often, usually do this type of video on the first impressions for the new game. I'm going to go over a bunch of different stuff, not everything. I don't want to go super in depth because again, I want this to be impressions, early thoughts, opinions. I don't want to drag on too long as well. And some of these things probably deserve their own video too. So I'm probably going to scratch the surface of a lot of things, but that's kind of the point of this video. So that's kind of what you should expect. But I do want to say in the beginning, I don't want to do the whole clickbait thing and, you know, be like, oh, here's my first impressions or what do I think about the game, and then not say anything until like the very end. We'll do it right away. I'll give my general idea right away in the beginning of the video. And then again, we'll go into everything else. So right off the bat, I would say it's decent. It's decent. It's not the worst COD I've ever played. It's not the best. It's somewhere in the middle, but leaning more towards the positive. I actually like this game. It's not perfect, and we'll get into why in the video. There's definitely some things that they can work on, but for the most part, just general core gameplay, moving, shooting, the flow of the map, flow of the games, just the actual like COD gameplay. I think this is the best new release COD on this engine. So for all the games that count under that, MW19, Vanguard, MW2, and then now here with MW3, of all those games, those 4 games, because Cold War was still on the old engine or some modified version of it, I want to say. Of all these new COD games on this new engine, I think this one is the best one. And again, I don't want to say it's like, oh, this is going to be a classic. I don't want to say that because it's definitely far from that. But it's a good start, and I have reason to believe that this will, not only is it going to start off as the best of the games on this engine, I genuinely think it'll get better this time around. And I'll get more into why I think that in the video. But yeah, so if I were to give it just a random, or not random, but from 0 to 10, rating, I would give it 10 being higher, better. Okay, usually it's what people do, but I guess you gotta clarify. I would give it like a 7 right now, and I think it can get better. I think it will get better, but I would give it a 7 right now. And if I were to give the last game that rating off the bat, I don't know what I gave it in the actual video, but in retrospect, it probably should have been like a 4, or being generous would have been a 5. So that'll be, to give you guys like an idea, I would have given MW2, the previous game, like a 4. And I think this game is already at a 7 for multiple reasons. And we'll get into those in the video. So enough of this preamble intro. This has already gone on too long. Let's get into the video. All right, so in the background, I'm playing some sped up footage, some really sped up footage of me going through the menus and showing off the menus and showing off the UI and all that stuff. So I thought that'd be important to go through, and I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff in regards to that as well, like create a class, for example. So that's going to be the first few minutes of the video, and I'm just going to shotgun through a lot of this if I can. So starting off with the menus in general, the menus, the user interface is still not great. It's brought over from MW2. It's literally a copy from what we had in MW2. The previous, I hate that I have to freaking clarify, the previous game, MW22, that's what we really should call it. Yeah, it's brought over from that. It feels like you need a freaking tutorial how to use the menu. It's so confusing. I used this for that entire year, and I still don't. Even though it's the same menu, I still get lost. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Gunsmith is back. I appreciate that it actually shows some statistics now. That is good, and I think the gunsmith system is better in this game. I think it's an improvement on the last game. There's no tuning, which I think is better. I still don't love the system. Oh, and the cons don't feel as bad. That was what felt bad with the last game, is a lot of the times it felt like the cons were so strong you didn't even want to put on attachments. I don't feel that as strongly with this game. So it's better. I still don't love the system. The perk/vest system, a lot of people were worried going into the game that it was like going to be gimmicky and that it was going to be something weird. It's just a visual thing with like the boots and the helmets. It's just a visual thing. It's same old perk system. It's just kind of stylized to the visual of the equipment. But I guess they have the addition of the vest, which is it's almost like a 4th perk. But mostly it's basically just the same old perk system. The create a class, not much to say here. It's basically the same as the last few years of games. It's pretty much the same. The camo grind, similar to last year, but a big improvement. They made the challenges a lot less cheesy. I like the challenges more this time around, and they went back to how it used to be, where like, oh, all the SMG challenges, it'll be like these 4 challenges, all the AR challenges. And in the last game, there was a lot of variety there, and I like how that's not the case in this one. It's a little more classic, but it's still got their new camo system, and I think it's pretty good, actually. I like it. Armory system. This might need its own video. It's all I wrote down for this was why. It might need its own video or its own explanation later in the video. Kills/score streaks, you can choose between them in this game, just like the last game. I like that, but the streaks are pretty, I don't know, they're pretty boring. They're kind of average. Field upgrades, I'm still not a big fan of field upgrades, and it's mostly a lot of the same stuff, and the trophy system seems like the obvious choice in this game. And the lethals and tacticals, so like the equipment, this game has like the most equipment variety of any COD with the MW2 stuff coming over. I think I'm pretty confident about saying that, and I think that's pretty cool, and I think there's a lot of variety there, and it's pretty sweet. Leveling, same leveling as the last few years. There's no prestige system. Leaderboards and combat record, we actually have this on day 1 since it's brought over from MW2, which is awesome. I'm showing some zombies footage in the background now. I'm going to talk about zombies real quick and get zombies and campaign out of the way. So campaign, people don't like it. I don't really care. I'm not going to play it. I haven't played the last couple games campaigns. I wouldn't spend $70 on this game for the campaign. I will say that. Zombies, I don't quite understand it yet, but it seems cool. The third person option that I'm playing with in the background is neat. I like that. It seems more fun than DMZ, Spec Ops, whatever the last game had. It seems more fun than that. And I would like to see a round-based option added at some point. And yeah, it seems cool. I'm interested in the zombies. I actually was not very excited for it, but I do want to play it and mess around with it and kind of see what's going on with it. And the little bit that I've played so far, I've enjoyed it and I'm intrigued, which is like a shock. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting knowing what the zombies was going to be going in, knowing that it wasn't going to be the classic round-based. I wasn't expecting to play it and actually enjoy it, but I played it and I actually enjoyed it. So I actually want to try it out some more and try to figure out what's going on with it. I actually kind of like it. Again, I would like to see a round-based option in the future. I'd like to have the choice to play between the two, but I do like it. Now I guess I'll keep showing some zombies footage. I'm gonna add this on here because the armory system, I didn't get to fully talk about it, but man, the armory system. How do I explain this? So they added a system in the game. Not all of the unlocks are tied to your level. So you know how in other COD games, like you level up level 1, so level 2 you get something, level 3 you get an equipment, level 4 you unlock create a class, level 5 you get a gun and a flashbang, whatever. You know what I mean? It keeps going, till level 55 you should have everything unlocked. That's not how it works in this game. At level 55 you don't have everything unlocked. At level 55 you unlock everything that is unlockable in the level progression system, but to unlock the other stuff that is still locked, you have to go through this armory system. And the armory system is, I don't even know how to begin how to explain it. It's items locked behind, either you have to play zombies and find these items and exfil with these items in zombies, you can unlock them that way, or in multiplayer you can unlock them by doing daily challenges, and when you do a certain amount of daily challenges you'll unlock them. And it's super tedious, and the only, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, the only positive of this system is, for example, like let's say Dead Silence, you know, like really important perk, you unlock it like level 50, takes forever, and it's really annoying, and it just sucks until the gameplay just sucks until you unlock it in previous games. In this system, you could pick Dead Silence really early on, do your challenges, and get Dead Silence really quickly. So that is a positive of it. But overall, it's a negative because you're gonna hit level 55 way faster than you're gonna get all these armory unlocks. So yes, some important things you can unlock faster than you would, but overall it's gonna take a lot longer to unlock everything, and hitting level 55 doesn't really feel like hitting level 55 because you don't have everything unlocked, and you still have to go through all these hoops of daily challenges or grinding zombies to unlock stuff, and it's super tedious, and it's very like mobile game like, I would say. I am really not a fan of this armory system. I don't think anybody is. And I don't know why they keep making, I don't know why they keep reinventing the wheel with the progression every year. It feels like like last year they did it with the camo system and the really stupid camo challenges. Again, the camo system itself was fine, but the really stupid challenges that they did was really frustrating. And then also the weapon unlocks last year, how you had to like use different weapons. You had to like use the MP5 to unlock attachments for the M4. That's not, I'm pretty sure that's not a thing in this game, so I will say that. That's not a thing, so that's great, because that sucked last year. But now we have this armory system, and it's like, why can't we just use the gun to unlock the attachments for the weapon? Use, you know, get the levels to get the perks, you know? Why, like, it's, just do that. Why do we have to reinvent the wheel? Why do we have to do this weird-ass system? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the armory system. I don't think anybody does. It's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, negative to this game. But anyways, again, a lot of this stuff I'll have to do specific videos on probably. I want to move on to gameplay stuff. I want to talk more about that. So again, I went over a ton there, but now we're going to transition into some more gameplay-focused stuff. Alright, so now we're going to go into the multiplayer portion. We'll actually have some multiplayer gameplay in the background. I believe it's going to be some gameplay of the returning from, was it COD World War II? I don't think it was in Vanguard. The returning war mode, and then also, I want to say it's a hardpoint match on Karachi and Terminal. Hopefully I'm right. If I'm not, that's going to look funny in the edit, but I believe those are the gameplays that I got. And I didn't play for like 5 hours to get, like, I just got on, recorded some gameplays. So it's you know, it's genuine, it's authentic. And also on 60 FPS instead of the normal 120 that I play on, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, still got the gameplays in, still recorded some stuff for you guys to watch. See some multiplayer gameplay in the background. And what I'm going to do in this part of the video is I'm going to go over my pros and cons for the multiplayer, and we're going to go over the pros first. I wrote out some pretty extensive lists for both, and yeah, we're going to go over the pros first. We're going to start positives. So let's start off here. And the first one, perks are activated. I should say all of your perks are activated at the start of the game. Now, if you didn't play the last game, you may not fully get this. You may be like, well, what do you mean? That's how perks work. Well, yeah, that's how they worked until the last game, where you had 4 perks and 2 of them were activated right away at the start of the game, and then the third one would get active, I don't know, like 3 minutes. I still don't know to this day if it was a timer, and like if it was a set timer, or if like your kills, your performance, if that, you know, made a substantial difference in the timer, if it really cut it down, or if it was like maybe a slight difference. I really don't know to this day, and I played that game for a year. I really don't know. But yeah, so your third one would be activated, let's just say like 3 minutes into the game, or let's say 2, and then the fourth one would be activated, let's say like 5 minutes into the game, something like that. So you'd have 4 perks, but they wouldn't all be activated at the start of the game. And I fucking hated this. And this was something that it wasn't my least favorite part of the game in the beginning. It was one of my least favorite parts, but the more I played the last COD, the more I fucking despised this feature as the game went on. Like, by the end of it, it was easily my least favorite part of the game. All that it does is mess with the flow of the game, and then especially when they put like super important perks at the end of the activation, or in the, what was it, like the ultimate perk slot that would take the longest to activate. It just felt like you weren't at your full potential, and it just felt random on when they would get activated, and it just felt, I think my biggest problem is pointless. I don't know what it, like, people would be like, oh, well, what does it take away? I'd be like, well, these things, like the flow of the game, and also I'd wager to you, what does it add? Like, what does waiting for your perks, like, what does that add to the game? All it did was make people wait. Like, oh, I don't have Ghost yet? All right, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna wait till I have Ghost, and then I'm gonna move around. Like, it was so stupid, man. It was so stupid. It just is so unnecessary. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. So, and there's a theme here. A lot of the first ones that I mentioned are improvements from the last game, by the way. But yeah, perks are activated at the start. Hell yeah, let's go. We're back to the bare minimum of COD. Next one, red dots on the mini-map. Again, if you didn't play the last game, you may be like, well, that's how COD worked. Not in the last game. Not in the last game. This is I believe MW3 didn't have red dots on the minimap as well, if I recall correctly. This is the first of the new Modern Warfare trilogy to have red dots on the minimap. It's the third fucking game. And this is the first one of the new Modern Warfare trilogy to have red dots on the minimap. I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not gonna super go into this one, but just, I'm glad they're back. Glad they're back. I've already had that rant in the past. I'm glad they're back. Again, it sounds like negatives so far, but these are pros. But a lot of these first ones are things that from the last game that this game improved upon that I still have some resentment over. Third one, dead silence is a perk. Who'd have fucking thought? Dead silence is a perk. Thank David Vonderhaar, even though he retired and even though he didn't work at Sledgehammer anyways, thank David Vonderhaar. I don't care. I'm gonna attribute this to him as a joke for the video. Shout out Vondy. I'll flash a picture of him in the edit. Dead silence as a perk is back. Dead silence as a field upgrade is one of my least favorite changes that Infinity Ward has ever made to Call of Duty. All it does is ruin search and destroy and make respawn it doesn't ruin respawn, but it makes respawn a lot less enjoyable. And again, dead silence as a field upgrade absolutely kills search and destroy, in my opinion. And dead silence as a perk is gonna bring it back, and that'll be a later point that I'll bring up. I'm really excited for S&D in this game, but dead silence as a field upgrade, those games, fucking hate it. But dead silence as a perk, now I'm looking forward to playing S&D. I think it'll be pretty fun. So that's another positive. Time to kill. The time to kill in this game is pretty much the same as Cold War's. It's pretty similar. So basically, however many shots something would take to kill, for the most part, in the last game or in MW19, just add a bullet to it. It's to give you guys like a more clear picture. It's not quite Black Ops 4 time to kill. It's not that slow, but it's not like OG like COD 4 or COD Ghosts. Like it's not like that or old MW2. It's not that fast. It's not as slow as Black Ops 4. It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. It's on the slower side, to be fair. But it's between those two. And a more accurate comparison would probably be like I don't know, like Vanguard or MW19 or the last like MW22. Either of those, like between that and between Black Ops 4, that's like what this game's time to kill is. And I quite like it. I like the time to kill. I like Black Ops 4's time to kill. A lot of people thought or felt like it was too long. I get that. So I think that this is a good compromise. I think it's a perfect happy medium. And even though I personally would prefer Black Ops 4's time to kill, I get why people don't like it. I do think there are some valid criticisms, and I just think this is a good compromise. So I really like it. Oh, this is a big one. This is a big one from the last game. Less visual recoil. Your gun, you can actually, you see the recoil. It's not like bullshit bouncing, you know, just like visual shit. Like it's the actual recoil. And you can control it, and less weapon smoke. The weapon smoke when you shoot in the last game was insane. Look up some videos, look it up on Reddit if you don't believe me. It was obnoxious. It was absolutely absurd, and it is vastly improved in this game. The MW3 guns, there's such a difference. It's so much better in this game. I'm really happy to see that. I can see what I'm shooting. I added that as a note. I can see what I'm shooting. Again, so that's pretty sweet. The classic maps. The classic maps that were fun in the past are still fun. Who'd have thought? But there's a part 2 to this when I get to the cons. But yeah, the classic maps that were fun back in the day are still fun. Sweet. I still like playing on High Rise. I still like playing on Scrapyard. In theory, we'll get to that one. I still like playing on oh, what's another? I like Skid Row. I know a lot of people don't like Skid Row. I like Skid Row. I like Favela. Like I like those maps. I still like playing on them. Aim assist feels slightly nerfed. I don't think it's like super nerfed, but I think it feels slightly nerfed. It's kind of hard for me to tell, but I think it is. I think it is. And if it is, that is a positive. That is a good thing. Movement feels much snappier than the previous title. Last game was easily the worst game, like movement-wise, in a long time, and the movement in this game, just across the board, feels a lot snappier, feels a lot more fluid, and I'm a big fan of that. Although it doesn't feel overpowered, there's lots of power positions on the map. There's pre-aiming generally going to be at the advantage. I don't think it feels like super overpowered with the peeker's advantage, but it feels like there's a good balance between holding angles and slide canceling, and I like that. So, and a lot of the other stuff like climbing ledges just feels snappier as well. Kill sounds, medals, headshots. Give me dope. I wrote that down as a joke because I thought that was funny. But yeah, they sound good. All right, it sounds satisfying. We'll put it that way. It sounds satisfying. I like the kill sounds. Weapon balance. This is kind of a two-parter too, because there'll be a part of this. There'll be a lot of parts of this in the cons. Weapon balance as a whole, I don't think is terrible considering it's the start of the game. It's not perfect, and I'll get into some negatives with the weapon balance later, but considering it's the start of a COD title, generally this is when weapon balance is pretty bad, and I think it's not the worst that it's ever been at the start of a title. So that's kind of, it's kind of a caveat. You know what I mean? This isn't like a huge positive. I'm not saying the weapon balance is great, but considering where we're at, I think it's generally pretty decent for, again, like for the start of titles. This is a funny one. I actually enjoy playing this game. I actually am like waking up or getting on Xbox and thinking like, oh man, I'm looking forward to playing some COD. Haven't had that feeling. Or that feeling goes away after like one match. I actually am enjoying playing. I actually want to play, and when I do play, I actually want to play more. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to feel that way for the first time in a while. Sledgehammer is listening to feedback and updating the game. I'm gonna make a statement. I'm gonna make a wager here. This is gonna sound like an exaggeration. I'm not kidding. I swear to Bob Ross that Sledgehammer has already updated the game and listened to more community feedback and been more transparent with the community in the beta phase of this game and the 1 week that this game has been out than Infinity Ward did for the entire last year with MW 2022. I don't know why I did the whole thing there. MW 22. I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but I swear, if they haven't, you know, it's closer than it should be for a beta and a week into the game versus an entire life cycle. It is absolutely obnoxious how bad Infinity Ward is at communicating with their community and being transparent and listening to community feedback and updating the game. They are awful at it. The last game, I'm pretty sure I said in my impressions video, I was like, you know what? There's some nuggets of hope here. This game, with good updates, could end up being good. And I still think that's true. And I think that's what this game is, by the way. This game is like what the last game should have been with updates. I genuinely believe that then. I genuinely still think that way now. But here's the thing. I never expected the updates. I didn't have high hopes. And guess what? They never came. They never came. The updates that would have made the last game pretty decent never came. Well, here you go. Sledgehammer comes in with this game. They actually listen to feedback. They actually make a bunch of changes already based on feedback. They've been very transparent so far. They've had plenty of updates. And they've clearly listened to the community. And what do you know? It's a pretty decent game. It's not bad. So, it's so fuck Infinity Ward, man. That's another... I don't even want to get into it because I'll just get sidetracked. That's for another day. Headshot / body multipliers have been reduced. So the headshot multiplier is not as strong. And in the last game, there was a lot of ridiculous multipliers. It was like headshot, upper torso, lower torso, legs, arms, and they would all have different values of multipliers of what it would do to your damage. And that led to some inconsistency, I think, in the last game. And in this game, I think they made it a point to really simplify it and just being like, all right, head, chest, lower torso, that's it. And that's good, and I like that. And also the multipliers themselves have been reduced. Like headshots aren't as crazy strong like they were in the last game. They are strong on some weapons, but overall it's not as strong, and I'm generally a fan of that because usually how it goes in COD with headshot multiplier is you shoot somebody and they're shooting at you, and because you're hitting them, their gun flinches, and if they're aiming at the chest, it goes into a headshot. It's not not actually like aiming for the head most of the time. So I'm generally not a fan of big headshot multiplier in COD. In other shooters, it works. In COD, the way COD is with flinch, I just don't think it makes sense. So I like this. Oh, that's another I didn't write this down, but that's another positive. The flinch, all that being said, the flinch doesn't seem insanely strong in this game, and I'm not a fan of like ridiculous flinch. Like, go back, watch some footage of like OG like COD 4 or MW2 and look at how ridiculous the flinch is. It literally looks like this. Like, it looks like that when you get shot. It fucking sucked. It's one of those things where like, oh, nostalgia, those games were great. If I played that shit now, holy fuck, I would get so pissed at that, I'd be done. I'd be done within one match. I swear, I would get over it so fast. Back in the day, though, it was lit. It was lit when I was like 10. Would not fucking, would not go for it now. But yeah, flinch is pretty decent in this game. Adding on to the movement stuff that I said earlier, just being more specific, the ledge climb. The ledge climb is a lot faster, like clambering's a lot faster. Strafe speeds feel like they're pretty decent. Although I do think they could be boosted a little bit. I think the strafe speed, I would like to see that increased a little bit. War mode, I mentioned this when I was saying the footage in the background. War mode is back, and it's fun. I should clarify, for Super OG, this is... If somebody gets confused on this, I'm very happy, because not many people would get confused on this. But not talking about World at War mode, which I wish that returned. That game mode was fucking awesome. I would love to see that in the base multiplayer as well. But not talking about the war mode from World at War, talking about the war mode from COD World War II. That is back in this game, and it's pretty fun from what I've played so far. MW3 items carrying over is sweet. This is the first time this has ever been done in a COD game, and if you didn't know, all your stuff, all your store stuff, all your base game unlock stuff, weapons, attachments, operators, calling cards, everything, all unlockable shit from MW2 carries over and is in this game. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Search, well, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I think search will be great in this game. And this is kind of, I don't want to go too much into the competitive COD stuff, because if you watch the channel, you know I'm passionate about that. I think that deserves to be its own video. So there is some stuff to talk about with, well, there's a lot to talk about with that. But I want this video to mostly be impressions on the game. I don't want it to get, like, bogged down by all the comp stuff. And yeah, I don't like saying bogged down, because that wasn't the right way to put it. But you know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about that stuff. And I think that putting that in this video, I think it'll detract from it as well. I think it'll detract from both. I'm going to lose out on impression stuff that I want to talk about. I'm going to lose out on the comp stuff that I want to talk about, trying to fit it all into this one video. It'd be better separate. So I do want to talk about that stuff. Different video. But yeah, I think search will be a lot of fun. Pubs and comp. Player model. This is something that Crim6, shout out, mentioned. I don't know if this is actually true, but I think there may be some truth to it. The player models might be thinner. They might be harder to hit. I'm not sure if that's 100% true. There would need to be some testing. I will admit it does kind of feel that way, but I'm not 100% certain on that one. But if it is true, then I think that's another good thing. Like, I'm happy about that. And I'm not gonna lie. Funny tidbit here. The exact comparison that I used for this, when he mentioned that, I was like, you know, now that he mentioned it, the Nicki Minaj skin doesn't seem as, like, large in this game. That skin's obnoxious, by the way. But I swear, that was the first I was like, you know what? When I don't own that skin. I swear to Bob, I don't. But when I kill people with that skin in game, it doesn't it doesn't seem as big. Like, seriously, like that one in particular, and just in general though, like it seems like it is thinner. So I don't know. If that's the case, I think that's a good thing. Ghost seems to work properly. This is another dissing MW3 thing. That game had a bug where Ghost didn't work all the time, or didn't work on certain maps or some shit, and it was like never fixed completely. Ghost, as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure it's working all the time in this game. At least it has so far for me, from what I can tell, and that's a pretty big positive. I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, last positive. This is what I do. All right? This is what I do for you guys. Last positive. Map voting. Let's go. Map voting is back. I can't believe it. I genuinely thought in the SBMM/EOMM era of Call of Duty, modern era of Call of Duty, I thought that map voting would never, ever return. And it's back in this game. I genuinely can't believe it. I thought it was a feature that would never come back. I'm so happy that it's back. Please, COD devs, please don't remove this. I'm so sick. Like, I don't even think it's in, I'm not sure. I haven't played the 2042 in a long time because I just don't give a shit. I don't think Battlefield 2042 has map voting. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. It might. but I know Halo, they took it out of Master Chief Collection, and Infinite never had it, and it's just so frustrating, man. Like, map voting, or at least, like, vetoes, like, just have that in every game. Why is it being taken away from games? Please, COD devs, keep this going forward. Do not get rid of map voting again. It's unnecessary. So there we go. Kobe. Fuck me, I missed. Okay, so now to talk about the cons. I'm not even gonna cut. Now to talk about the cons. The Holger, okay, the first, like, multiple of these are the weapon balance, like part 2. So now, I meant what I said. I think the weapon balance overall for a launch of a COD title is not terrible, but there are some exceptions, as you'd expect, and I'm gonna go through them. The Holger AR is insanely strong and is obnoxious. I think this gun definitely needs some looking at. Snipers are already too good in recent titles, and the time to kill nerf, I guess I would say, the time to kill increase, right? It taking longer to kill people is essentially a buff for snipers, right? Because snipers are still one-shotting at the same rate. If you hit the same body parts, snipers are still one-shotting most of the time. So time to kill being slower is essentially a sniper buff, and I already thought snipers were too strong. So that is a negative of the time to kill change, and that is something that I don't love. SMGs in general could use some help. The subs just, they feel rough in this game. Just the entire SMG class, they need some help, man. They need some help. Shotguns and melee, this is another thing with the TTK. Shotguns and melee also essentially get a buff, and that's another thing that could be kind of frustrating. It's not like super frustrating right now, but as the game progresses, it could get more frustrating. Dead Silence as a field upgrade with the perk existing in the game feels kind of redundant, and I don't know why you need both. Like, with it as a perk, I feel like they could get rid of Dead Silence as the field upgrade and put something else interesting there. So that feels kind of odd to me. The trophy, okay, this is another, like, competitive focus thing mostly, but to be fair, this is a problem with the general game too. Trophy systems blowing up cruise missile kill streaks. Why? Why? I don't think a field upgrade should be able to hard counter a, like, must be like a 7 or 8 kill streak like that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that makes sense. And it has some big implications for competitive, but also just for general public match gameplay. It just doesn't make sense, and I don't get it. Tac stance. Tac stance is gimmicky, and I don't think it really adds anything, and I don't really care for it. If you don't know, tac stance is a new thing they added in the game where instead of, like, fully ADSing, you can do, like, kind of a cross between hipfire and ADS where it, like, tightens the cone of your aim, but you're not quite ADS'd, so you can move a little bit faster, I think, but you're not at, oh, sorry, hit the mic, but you're not as, like, fully accurate as ADS. What the fuck is this shit? Like, it just doesn't, I just don't care. It's COD, like, it doesn't need whatever this tac stance is. Like, it just feels like this game's gimmick, you know, like MW19, it was like mounting indoors. This game is tac stance. Yeah, I don't really care for it. Well, I kind of mentioned this one earlier, but the menus, the UI, it's terrible, and they should honestly just start over. But seriously, they should honestly just start over. It's awful. This is kind of a part 2 from one of the pros. Now, in the pros, I said that classic maps that were great back in the day are still great. Well, the classic maps that weren't great still aren't. It's not like they got any better. So this is one of the negatives of them just being like, oh, we're just gonna throw in all the MW2, the old MW2 maps. We're just all across the board. All of them, right? Like, now in other games it'd be like, oh, we're gonna remake, we're gonna throw in firing range, we're gonna throw in slums, we're gonna throw in raid, we're gonna throw in standoff, we'll throw in terminal, we'll throw in strike, we'll throw in, I don't know if backlot's ever been remade, but it should be. What's the other one that always gets remade? Crash, you know, like shipment, whatever. But in this game they're like, fuck it, all of MW2, All of it. Oh, and that's kind of another con too, is that there's no new maps at release. It is literally just the MW2 remake maps, and now already they added in some maps from the last game as well into a playlist this week. But that's another con too. But yeah, that's the thing with remaking all the maps is, what do you know? The ones that were good back in the day, I still have fun on them. They're still pretty good. The ones that were kind of mid, they're still kind of mid. The ones that were not great and kind of shit, they're still pretty shit. Like, that's, what a surprise. Like, so yeah, that's kind of a negative. Again, like, I was excited to see a lot of these remakes, but I could have, I'll be honest, I could have done without Derail, okay? I didn't need to play Derail again. I didn't need to play Wasteland again. I didn't need to play Quarry. I know some people like Quarry. I don't really care for Quarry. Didn't need to play that again. Yeah, some of these could have been left in the past. Okay, this is another one that is somewhat competitive focused, but again, this affects public matches too. The hardpoint spawns. The spawns in this game across other game modes seem fine now. There's some problems in the beta, but I think they're generally fine in the other game modes. But in hardpoint in particular, the spawns are abysmal, and they are maybe the worst that they've ever been. The hardpoint spawns, I don't get the logic. I don't know if there's any logic. It just feels like you spawn fucking wherever. Like anchoring doesn't feel right. Spawns, they don't spawn out when it feels like they should. The attacking team, the team that rotates, neither of those teams spawn where I think they should. You get like what feels like revenge spawns a lot, where you literally spawn behind somebody that just killed you. Like, I'm not even kidding, like aiming at them. You spawn behind, like, hardpoint spawns are something else this year, and they need some work. They need a lot of work. Oh, the this is a thing. The Dead Silence perk is nice, and I'm glad that we have Dead Silence as a perk, but general footstep audio is still too loud, and it kind of makes the Deady perk a crutch. Now, something I'll see some people bring up that don't want Dead Silence as a perk is they'll say like, oh, well, it's just another crutch perk. And to be fair, I think they're attacking the wrong thing. Like, I think Dead Silence being a crutch perk, I think the problem there is what I'm addressing here. It's not Dead Silence existing as a perk, it's the general base game footstep audio. If Dead Silence is a crutch perk, then that is a sign that the base game's footstep audio is too loud and should be lowered. Because if the base game's footstep audio wasn't as loud, Dead Silence, would it still be used? Yes, but would it be as much of a crutch perk? In Search and Destroy, sure, and Respawn, probably not. Probably not. And again, I was very disappointed, and the least fun that I had with this game was before I unlocked Dead Silence. There was genuinely a point in my gameplay where I was like, shit, did I fuck up? Did I fall into the hype again? This year, I was like, man, fuck, this is frustrating. And then I unlocked Dead Silence, and I was like, holy shit, I've seen the light. This is fan-fucking-tastic. It literally saved the game for me. If Dead Silence wasn't a perk, I don't know if I would enjoy this game as much as I do. But again, it's because the base game footstep audio is too loud. And even though Dead Silence is a perk, and even though I'm glad that it's a perk, and even though it definitely improves the game, it's not over. The job isn't done. The base game footstep audio is still too loud and still should be lowered, and it would be less of a crutch perk if they did that. I still don't love Tac Sprint. I don't expect Tac Sprint to ever be removed, but I still don't love it. I still don't think it's necessary, and I still would like to see it go. A lot of people will do big rants on this next one. I'm not going to. SBMM/EOMM is absolutely still present and absolutely still frustrating. And that being said, I'm not going to do a big rant on it because I'm over it. And I've already said everything that I've wanted to say on that for the past however fucking many years. You know, that discussion's been had. You can go back and look at old videos. I've said it. I'm just over talking about it. I'm SBMM, EOMM. It's one of those, I'm just over talking about it. You know, I have my stance on it. It's my stance. I'm not changing my mind. Devs aren't changing their mind. Unless something crazy happens in the gaming sphere as a whole that blows up SBMM, I just don't see it ever changing. So, again, I don't love it. I never have. I still don't. But I'm just over it. I'm just over it. It exists. And for people that, like, it's really frustrating for, if it's super frustrating for you and it's a deal breaker, then maybe you should play something else and try some different games. And I hate saying that, I hate being that guy, but genuinely that's where I'm at. Like, just honestly just play something else, because it's just not gonna fucking change. You know, complaining about it, it's like yelling at the clouds. Like, there's no point. There's no use in complaining about it. So I hate to sound that cynical, but I don't even think I'm being cynical. I think I'm just being realistic. I think this is just me accepting it, and I think other people just need to accept it. So again, if it's something that really bothers you and it's something that's a deal breaker, maybe stay away from this game, and maybe stay away from multiplayer games, and either find a new hobby or play single player games. Again, sounds super cynical. I hate sounding this cynical and negative, but it's the fucking truth, man. I don't know what else to say. And not that I'm not on everybody's that doesn't like its side. I'm on your side. I don't like it either. I'm just over talking about it. I feel like I say the same things and nothing gets done. I'm over it. People are obnoxiously hard to see, and the player outlines may help. So player visibility, I feel like this has been a problem in the last fucking 5 CODs, but it's a problem again, and player visibility is still not great. And I will say though, and I mentioned this in the end of that, they added just today, as I'm recording this, a week into the game, an experimental playlist where they're messing with player outlines, and they're trying out player outlines. When you specifically, it's not like they're always outlined. It's when you aim in on somebody, you get an outline as well. And I liked it. It was pretty subtle. It was not like obnoxious where people just stick out and you could play search and you could just like do that, you know? It's not like super obnoxious. It's actually kind of subtle, but it's one of those things where it's subtle enough to where I'm not like super noticing it, but my brain probably does. And it felt nice. It felt like a welcome addition. I liked it. I would like to see it added to the game, because player visibility could definitely use some help. Connection / desync. So this is a problem in the beginning of every COD, because it feels like the servers, like the tick rate isn't as high, I think, in the launch of the games, and then when the servers calm down, they raise it. I feel like that's usually what they do. So this is always a problem in the launch, but essentially what I'm gonna say here is, and I'm sure everybody that's played this has experienced this, sometimes, and by sometimes, pretty frequently is what I mean, it'll feel like it takes you 6 to 7 shots to kill somebody, but they kill you dead, like 2 bullets. And that connection difference, that desync, that's a big problem. But to be fair, I'm not too worried about it, because that's a problem in the launch of every COD cycle. Once we get to like December, it should be better, I hope, because I feel like it's always a problem on launch. That being said, I wish they would fix it. I wish it wouldn't be a problem on launch. It's been a problem on launch for so long. I wish we would launch better. But again, it's one of those things that's going to be annoying in the first month, but it should be fixed. Nades, grenades are nukes. Now, there's kind of a 2-part to this. I think the flak jacket perk is not working correctly, so I think that's a big reason why this is such a problem. But yeah, the grenades are fucking nukes this year, and pretty frustrating. Map variety seems bugged, or I have really bad luck. I've put like at least 12 hours into the multiplayer so far. Scrapyard is maybe my favorite map from OG MW2, or it's at least top 3 for me. I love Scrapyard. I have not played Scrapyard yet. We're 12 hours into the game, or again, I think I'm like 12 hours of gameplay. And to be fair, some of that was war mode. It wasn't all pubs. But I have yet to play Scrapyard. I also have yet to play Derail. Now, to be fair, with Derail, that's not a very well-liked map. It's very possible that it's popped up and hasn't gotten voted for, and to be honest, I'm not upset about not having played Derail. But Scrapyard, people like Scrapyard. I'm not the only one that likes Scrapyard. I'm pretty sure it just hasn't popped up for me yet. And that's pretty frustrating. So, and I feel like I'm playing the same maps a lot. Like, I feel like I just recently played High Rise for the first time, and now I'm starting to get High Rise. I get Terminal all the time. I get Karachi all the time. I get Favela all the time. And then these other maps I just don't play. And I don't think it's a map voting thing. I'm pretty confident it's not a map voting thing, because some of these are popular maps, and I'm just not playing them. Like High Rise, for example. Like, me not playing High Rise until like 8 hours in, that's not a map voting thing. People fucking love High Rise. So I don't know if something weird is going on with the map variety, if it's bugged or something, I don't know, but that's kind of frustrating. I attachments need a filter option. So when you're going through attachments, I want to see the MW3 attachments first. But again, I mentioned earlier, all the MW2 stuff carries over, and there's so many MW2 attachments. So you go through the attachment screen, and it's just, you're just scrolling through it. You're scrolling, and especially with the sights, the optics, there's just so fucking many, and you're just scrolling through. And there needs to be a filter option for attachments where you could just filter the MW3 ones or the MW2 ones. That'd be really nice. Head glitches are insane. Now, this is, again, it's like every fucking year that's caught. I know. But hear me out. Head glitches in this game, on these maps in particular, are fucking insane. There's so many of them, and so many of them are insanely strong. Like, there are some crazy good ones. I feel like there's some of the best headies in any COD on these maps in this game. And I feel like this was, I swear this was mentioned in the last title when they revealed MW22 that they were gonna fix this. I feel like that was one of the big things. I'd have to go back, I'd have to replay it, but I'm pretty certain this was a thing that they talked about, and they're like, oh yeah, we fixed it. We tied the camera to the eyes of the player model, and it'll help this. That was a pile of shit. That was a big fucking lie. They were not fixed in the last game. They were still the same. It was the same as ever, and it's the same in this game. So what happened to that? What happened to that? I don't know. We're almost at the end of the list. Tac sprint bug is frustrating. There's a tac sprint bug. To be fair, I believe they have communicated that they have a fix for this, but it just wasn't able to be rolled out in the last update. It'll be in the next update. But there's a tac sprint bug where your tac sprint like doesn't refresh properly, and it really slows the pace of the game, and that's pretty frustrating. But again, I put it towards the end here. It's something that I think will be fixed. And this is a final note on what I mentioned earlier. Game might be weird for competitive, and I'll just, in a later video, I'll have to go over it more in depth, but it might be a weird game for competitive. So if you're into the competitive COD side like I am, even though I really love this game, there might be some frustrations with it. And my final one, this is what I do. This is what I do for you guys. That's what I do. Hell yeah. Oh, I didn't read it yet. Fuck the Groot skin. I don't know if it's actually Groot or it's some other character or whatever, the tree character, whatever the fuck it is. I'm calling it the Groot skin. Fuck the Groot skin. The Groot skin is obnoxious. I'll try to find an image of it, show it on the screen. If you guys have played the game, you know what I'm talking about. Kobe. Let's fucking go. Made that one. Nah, I'm not gonna show my garbage. I made it. You just gotta trust me. The Groot skin needs a nerf. It's really fucking annoying and obnoxious. Fuck that skin. Okay, I need to take a drink, but I got through the pros and the cons. I got through all that stuff. This video is super long, but it was in-depth and informative like I wanted. I'll do a bit of an outro, but I need to get a drink, so I'll be right back. Okay, I got the water that I needed, and I might need more. I might still need more. That was a lot of talking. And the fact that I did that was like 36 minutes, and I did that without taking a drink. I'm pretty impressed with myself. My ums weren't too bad either. Like, I'm pretty impressed with myself, but there you go. That was the pros and the cons, the first impressions of the game. I went through everything that I could think of. I'm sure I forgot some stuff, and I'm sure there's other things that I could have covered, but I'm sure I'll do more videos on the game, and like I said, I'll absolutely do a video for competitive. Expect that next. That'll probably be the next one. So, or maybe, yeah, that'll probably be the next one. So, expect that next. That one just deserves its own video, but again, those are the first impressions of the game. I would give it a 7 out of 10 right now. I genuinely like this game. I genuinely think it's pretty decent. I have not been paid off by Robert Bowling or David Vonderhaar or Activision. Okay, I swear, I promise. Because it's a hot take to enjoy COD in the current year. But I'm being serious. And to be fair, you can go back. I didn't hold back in not loving MW19. I didn't hold back in not really caring for Vanguard. I didn't hold back or sugarcoat in not really loving the last game, MW22, either. Although again, I did mention I saw potential in that game, but it just never never got there. I was honest about those, and I was honest about just like not loving the recent CODs, and my last couple favorite CODs were Black Ops 4 and Cold War. I haven't really loved a COD from Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer in a minute. But this right now, this is my favorite Sledgehammer developed Call of Duty since Advanced Warfare. I genuinely like this game, and they seem to give a shit. They seem like they really fucking care this year, and they've been very transparent. They've been on top of feedback. They've been putting in a lot of good shit that I've been asking for the past like 5 years of CODs. They've been doing a lot. There's not everything, but they've done a lot, and I'm genuinely hopeful. And I'm looking forward to what the rest of this year of COD holds. If they release good updates, not just the game updates in terms of like tweaking stuff, but also like, you know, the battle pass and like the maps and the weapons that come with that, this could end up being a really good COD. Like, it's a decent COD right now, which again, for how bad the last few games have been, is amazing, right? It feels way better than it is. Like, a decent game feels way better than it is. But I genuinely think if they do a good job supporting it throughout the year, it could end up being a decent title. Would it be like a top 5 for me? Probably not. But could it be like a fringe, like top 8? Yeah, probably. I think it could be. And when you think about how many COD games there are, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, in, you know, a lot of negativity for me when it comes to shooters and like that side of gaming in the last few years, right? I've been stream video or YouTube videos. I've been very honest about it. Talk with my friends, or again, if you hear it on stream, I've been very honest about it. Have been pretty negative for the most part. I am genuinely positive about this game. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It's a step in the right direction, and I'm happy to say that. So, MW3, you get a 7 out of 10 from me right now, but it could get better. And again, if there's like a main takeaway, I said it in the beginning, it's decent. It's not bad. It's really expensive. So if you don't want to fork out the money for it, I get that. But if you haven't played COD in a while, or if you have been playing the recent games and you've been frustrated with them, I would at least like look into this game. Maybe wait for a sale if one comes. I know it usually doesn't happen throughout the year, but because the price is pretty steep. That's like the biggest negative in my opinion. But yeah, if you have the money and you're curious, I say go for it. I don't know. I like it. It's not my favorite game ever. It's not my favorite COD ever, but it's far from the worst. And I'm overall having fun, and that's more than I can say for a lot of the CODs of the last few years. Okay, so what do you guys think about the game, if you've played it or if you haven't, either way, or just the video, because this is obviously, I went fucking hard on this video. So either way, your perspective from outside or in, again, play the game, don't play the game, whatever it is, because I know everybody has played COD or has an opinion on COD that watches my channel. Put it in the comments. I will read it. I am curious. Genuinely, I'll read them all. I don't care. Throw your thoughts or feedback from the video, whatever. I'll read it. I like reading comments. Do it. Just do it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So I don't know what my next video on the channel is going to be, but my next COD video will probably be talking about from the competitive side. Holy shit, that was a big video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, COD's actually kind of okay. Let's go. That's great. All right, see you guys in the next one.